What's going on, WWE Express fans, and thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. If you're not subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell right now because we're about to break down one of the most shocking developments in the Bloodline saga, and trust me, you're not going to want to miss our coverage of what's coming next. Paul Heyman just made a move that's going to change everything. After weeks of tension, strategy, and calculated positioning, he's introduced a new enforcer to the Bloodline, and this decision signals something massive about where this faction is headed. The game has officially changed, and the Vision are about to realize that they're facing a threat unlike anything they've encountered before. Let's talk about what this new enforcer represents. When you look at Paul Heyman's career, he doesn't make random decisions. Every choice he makes is deliberate, calculated, and designed to maximum effect. He's brought in someone who isn't just physically dominant, but someone who fills a specific void in the Bloodline structure. The Vision have been positioning themselves as this cohesive, unified force, but the Bloodline just proved they can adapt, they can evolve, and they can bring in the kind of muscle that shifts the balance of power entirely. This is classic Heyman strategy. He recognizes that in order to combat the Vision's momentum, you can't just rely on what you already have. You need to elevate the game. You need to bring in someone who commands respect, someone who makes opposing factions think twice before they even step into the ring. And that's exactly what he's done. The Vision are a powerful group, don't get me wrong, but they're about to learn that the Bloodline doesn't stay static. They don't rest on their laurels. They evolve, they adapt, and they bring in reinforcements when the moment demands it. The psychology of this move is absolutely fascinating from a storytelling perspective. Think about it. The Bloodline has been fractured, they've been divided, they've had their internal conflicts. And just when it seems like they might be vulnerable, Paul Heyman steps up and makes a decisive move that unites them around a new purpose. This new enforcer becomes the physical manifestation of that unity. It sends a message to Roman Reigns that Paul has his back. It sends a message to everyone within that bloodline that they're stronger together. And it sends a message to the Vision that the war just intensified. What makes this development so compelling is the timing. We're at a point in this storyline where tension is at an absolute peak. The Vision have been building momentum, they've been making waves, they've positioned themselves as a genuine threat to the bloodline's supremacy. But there's a fundamental difference between being a threat and actually overthrowing the establishment. Paul Heyman understands this completely. He knows that sometimes the best way to crush momentum is to overwhelm it with a sudden, powerful countermove. That's what introducing this new enforcer does. Let's think about the individual elements here. The Bloodline has always been about dominance, about legacy, about power. But they've also been about strategy and psychology. This new enforcer isn't just another body. He's a statement. He's a declaration that the Bloodline isn't just going to defend their position, they're going to expand it. They're going to become even more formidable. The Vision, on the other hand, have built their identity around unity and community consciousness. They believe in something larger than individual glory. But in professional wrestling, sometimes believing in something isn't enough. Sometimes you need the kind of raw power and dominance that the Bloodline represents. And now with this new enforcer in the mix, the dominance just became undeniable. What's particularly interesting is how this development affects the individual wrestlers involved. For those aligned with the Vision, this has to be a moment of genuine concern. They were building something, they were making progress, and suddenly they're facing an even larger obstacle. For those within the Bloodline, this is validation. It's proof that Paul Heyman is still the master strategist, that Roman Reigns can trust him implicitly, and that they're going to continue to dominate regardless of what challenges arise. The strategic implications are massive too. This doesn't just change the dynamic between the Bloodline and the Vision, it changes the entire landscape of the company. Other factions are watching this unfold. Other wrestlers are taking notes. This is how you respond when you're being challenged. You don't back down. You don't retreat. You elevate. You bring in reinforcements. You remind everyone why you're at the top of the mountain. Paul Heyman's track record speaks for itself. He's been able to manage some of the most dominant personalities in wrestling history. He's been able to orchestrate some of the most memorable angles and storylines. And now, by introducing this new enforcer, he's proven once again that he's always thinking several moves ahead. He's not just reacting to what the Vision are doing. He's proactively shaping the future of this war. One of the things that makes this storyline so engrossing is the character development potential. This new enforcer has their own backstory, their own motivations, their own reasons for aligning with the Bloodline. There's going to be interesting dynamics to explore. How do they interact with the existing members of the faction? What's their relationship with Paul Heyman? How does their presence challenge or reinforce the existing hierarchy within the group? And let's not overlook what this means for the Vision. They've been operating with a certain belief system, a certain confidence in their cause. But confidence only takes you so far when you're facing the kind of dominance that the Bloodline is about to display. This new enforcer represents a major obstacle that they're going to need to figure out how to overcome. It adds another layer of complexity to their narrative. The wrestling industry has always been about evolution and adaptation. The greatest factions, the greatest wrestlers, are those who can adjust to changing circumstances. Paul Heyman just demonstrated that the Bloodline is absolutely capable of doing that. When faced with a challenge, they don't fold. They don't panic. They strike back with a decisive move that puts them back in complete control. This is the kind of storytelling that makes professional wrestling so compelling. It's not just about the physical competition in the ring. It's about narrative development, character psychology, strategic positioning, and the constant interplay between action and consequence. Paul Heyman bringing in this new enforcer is going to reverberate through the entire company. Everyone's going to be affected by this development, and we're going to be covering every single twist and turn as this war between the Bloodline and the Vision continues to escalate. The beauty of this angle is that it keeps us engaged, keeps us thinking, keeps us invested in where this is all heading. We don't know exactly what's coming next, but we know it's going to be significant. We know the stakes just got raised. We know the Bloodline just made a move that's going to reshape the competitive landscape for weeks to come. So make sure you're subscribed to WWE Express because we're going to be breaking down everything that unfolds from this moment forward. We're going to analyze every development, every implication, and every storyline consequence. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on WWE Express.